The money line is a red. It's in red. It starts at the end of the headline, and it goes vertical up towards the Mercury finger, and then the explanations in between that Mercury finger and the Sun finger. So I get that section there in between the head and the heart line. That's about age 20, 30, and half of 40. Then it crosses over the heart line, and it's the other half of 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. So I get two lines, two incomes in your 20s and 30s. Then I get one line, that's just one income, in your 40s, and then two lines, well, probably up to about 45 or so, because it crosses over that line. And then I get two lines again in your 50s, 60s, and 70s and 80s. Okay, underneath the Mercury finger, this is where your marriages and your children are going to show. And the children lines will come down from the ring around the little finger, the Mercury finger. They're really short. They're a little bit hard to read. And then the marriage lines will show horizontally from the outside of the hand going in. See where the end of the heart line is? It ends in flirt lines, little tassels. Oh, you got really good little tassels. Those are flirt lines. Well, actually, it means that you interact well with people. And then in between the flirt lines and the ring around the Mercury finger, anything that shows horizontally, that's your marriage or relationship lines, and then the children lines come vertically down from the ring around the Mercury finger. That section in between the flirt lines and the Mercury, the ring around the Mercury, you divide that into thirds. So going up from the flirt lines, that first third is about age 20, 30, and then the next third is about 40, 50, and the last third is 60, 70, 80. So I see 4 children in there. See the little green asterisk? Look over there to the side of the page in green. 4 children. But there's quite a gap. There's 3 children, and then there's quite a gap in there. I got a little note that says, but don't get pregnant yet. Wait until your next marriage, because you got another marriage in there. Okay, starting from the flirt lines. There's your first marriage. It's in purple. It's short. It tips down. It's first marriage. It's not as dark as the second marriage. It tips down at the end. Let's see, how long have you been married so far? 26. Oh, you've only been married about 6 plus 4. 37, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 30. You've only been married about 8 years. Well, I couldn't tell for sure. You said something about 24. I didn't know if you'd had a marriage before that, or if that was when you started going with him. That was a little bit confusing to me. Maybe that's when you started up the relationship and then you got married at 26. That's all I could figure out. That's what I am assuming. So I got one marriage there, but and then there's a little relationship. That's the red line, and then there's a second marriage. Really long, good, dark color. Maybe about 40 years long. But when that tips down on the end, sometimes that spouse passes away first. So just hang in there, because that isn't a very long marriage, that first one. Usually, if you have a divorce, it'll get a fork on the end of it. But yours just tips down at the end, like you might lose him. That's why I say don't get pregnant yet. You have to get pregnant before about age 43, 44. That's getting a little past your childbearing age. Okay, and I'm not real sure that fourth child. Sometimes when you get that, you got the 3 children there, and then there's a space, and then there's another child. Sometimes you end up taking care of a grandchild, and that'll show in your hand. Or an adopted child or something. Oh, didn't you have stepchildren? You got a stepdaughter. That might be that stepdaughter. That fourth line. You might not be having any more children. That fourth line might be the stepdaughter. Okay, one marriage, one short marriage, a little relationship between the marriages, and then a really good long marriage, about 40 years long. Oh, underneath that says, here's your chances to marry. I can't tell you exactly when you're going to marry, but there's a little marking that looks like the letter Y. It's a stick with a little fork on the top of it, and it'll show in the fate line. There's a good timeline on that fate line. That fate line starts at the base of your palm. It's in green, and it goes up and crosses over the head and spine line at age 40. Then it crosses over the heart line at age 50, and then it goes up to that Saturn finger only, up to the base of that Saturn finger. That's age 80. So that little marking will show on that fate line when you have a chance to marry. Now, it all depends on if you take that chance to marry. It's a positive time for you to marry, where that little Y marking shows up. And so down there in the lower left-hand corner of your chart, here's your chances to marry that's set on that fate line at age 37, 39, 41, and 47. But it's your choice, whether you take that chance to marry or not. Now, you should have received about 4 charts with your hand reading. And if you'll find the chart that says Hand Analysis Chart, it's got the big hand on it. We're going to basically work off that. Then we'll bring the other charts in as we need them. So, first thing you need to know is the left hand is the past, the right hand is the present and the future. It does not matter what handed you are. The left is the past, right is the present. Most of the work we do is on the present hand. Now the length of the fingers is your talents. Long fingers mean one thing, short fingers mean another thing. Nothing's good or bad, that's just the way you're born. Look down there in the lower right hand corner of your chart where it says palm shapes. The palm shapes are probably your most important talent. Oh, you got an artistic palm. That's nice. That's kind of a rounded palm, rounded on the edge. That means you see color and proportion, things that fit together well. Okay, go to the upper right hand corner of your chart. This is your type of fingertips. This is just the tips of the fingers. That's your personality. Oh my, you got 2 spatulates. That's your little actor-actress fingers. Intense, dramatic, energetic, adventuresome actor-actress fingers. They're a little bit wider on the top than they are on the finger part. And then 3 round, intuitive, quick, very compassionate. Should be in the health field. I usually see those on the doctors and the nurses and the social workers. Okay, jump back down there to the thumb now. Gonna do your talents according to the length of your fingers. That thumb's quite long. Oh, that thumb's quite really long. Means you will do well in life. Good manual dexterity. You hold tools and instruments well with your hands. You work well with your hands. Okay, that Jupiter finger, that index finger. Let me explain the names on these. Palmistry is 2,000 or 3,000 years old, and they'd go through and they'd name all of the fingers and then different areas of the palms. And generally they were names of Greek goddesses or gods or astrological names. And so that index finger is the Jupiter finger. The middle finger is the Saturn finger. The ring finger is the Sun, sometimes called the Apollo finger. And the little finger is the Mercury finger. Then that section right between the heart line and the head line, that clear across the palm, that's called the Mars area. And one more important one in the palm is right below the thumb. That little fat pad right at the base of the thumb, that is called the Mount of Venus. Venus, goddess of love, because that tells you about your sexual libido. Oh, by the way, that also is going to tell you if you're drinking enough water. And you're very dehydrated there at the base of that thumb. Need to drink more water, 32 ounces a day. You want to see a nice little fat pads of fat in there that you can't even hardly pick up the skin. And that area right where it says 6 cents under the Jupiter finger, that's a little bit dehydrated too. You want to see a nice little fat pad right there. Okay, we are on the Jupiter finger, the index finger. That's nice and long. That's excellent. It was a really long finger. That's the boss finger, the manager, the teaching finger, sales finger. Your middle finger is very good too. That's excellent. Good business sense. When you've got that long middle finger, that needs to be about the length of your palm. When you got that good long middle finger, you know how to do business. You know how to make money. The ring finger, the sun finger, little tiny bit short. You're very practical, systematic, very organized. A place for everything and everything in its place. And the little finger is a little bit short too, that Mercury. Hands-on person, you've got to be active. Sitting at a desk is not your favorite thing to do. Well, let me see what you do for a living. Oh, you're a caregiver. Oh boy, are you active. That's not an easy job, my dear. Okay, the heart line. That starts between the Saturn and the Jupiter finger, comes down. It should make a nice little curve in there. And then go to the outside of the hand where the flirt lines are. Yours is good. Yours is kind of slightly curved, very loving and caring. If it's real straight, you're kind of tough emotionally, but you got a nice little curve in that heart line. That looks good. Look up there in the upper left-hand corner of your chart where it says Lines of Energy, and run your finger down where it says Islands, ISLANDS. You don't want to see any of those little islands on the line or underneath the line or on top of the line. See the little ovals or the little triangle-y looking things or the little circles? That's a break in the energy of that line. And you got some slight stress there. You got some little tiny islands along the bottom of that line. That's slight heart stress. You'll see when I get down to the spine thing. I'll explain that to you a little better. That's because your nerves are to that heart are being pinched off of your spine. Okay, over there to the 6th sense, underneath the Jupiter finger, you should see a nice little fat pad right there. You'd have a little fat pad, but you're not drinking enough water. It's a little bit dehydrated. Otherwise, it's fairly good. You'd have a nice little fat pad when you get to drinking enough water. And your 6th sense is your intuition. So here's how that works. If you've got a problem you got to solve, just clear your mind completely. Let it go blank for about 30 minutes. And when you come back to solve the problem, that gives your intuition or your 6th sense time to kick in. And you'll have the problem solved. Probably have the problem solved. And yours is very good. So pay attention. Listen to those little promptings inside your head. Alright, we're down to the head and spine line now. That line's going to tell you two things. It's going to tell you how smart you are by how straight across your palm it goes. But if you got any problems in the spine at all, it's going to show on that line with those little island marks. So see where I've got the little red marks on there? Oh, by the way, that line goes right across your palm. Very, very intelligent. Very smart. But you got a little tiny bit of spine stress in there. See the little red marks underneath that line? Find your chart that says understanding your cervical spine. And down at the bottom of that chart, there is a picture of a vertebrae. Now, the vertebrae is the little bony process in your spine. And off of each one of those little vertebrae, you got a nerve on each side that comes out off the spinal cord and goes out into different areas of the body. The head, the neck, the throat, the heart, the lungs, the stomach, your legs, your arms. Then they all end up in your hands and your feet. The nerves do. And that's how I can see them on the hand. I'm not just a palm reader. I've actually got a master's degree in health education. I'm an old school teacher. And I was getting my master's degree at college in my 40s, and I started reading these palmistry books, and my gosh, it all fit together so well because it tells so much about your health in your hand. And then I got this book that was written by an old medical doctor, Dr. Eugene Scheiman, and it told how you could see the spine in that headline. And by gosh, it's true. If you got some problems in that spine, it shows in that headline. And so here's how it shows with those little island marks. So find your chart that says, just a minute, I gotta look at the name because it's a great big long name. Chart of effects of spinal misalignments. I get all these sheets out of medical books. I'll see the spine on the left-hand side there. That's a picture of the spine with all the little vertebrae lined up on it. Then the next column is the name of the vertebrae, cervical, thoracic, lumbar, and your tailbone. Then the next column is the areas, and that's the areas of your body that those nerves go to when they exit each one of those vertebrae. Your head, your eyes, your cheeks, your nose, your vocal cords, your heart, your lungs, your gallbladder, your liver. And then the effects is in the last column. If those vertebrae are turned out of place, this is the effects that you get, was because those nerves come off those vertebrae, they go out into the body, they intermesh with the muscles, and if that vertebrae is turned out of place, it's pinching the nerve, and the nerve sends a little pain signal. It goes zit, zit, zit out, and it intermeshes with the muscle, and the muscle gets a muscle spasm in it, and then it holds that vertebrae out of place. So, where I've circled in the red, that's where you're out of place in that spine. See, so underneath the Jupiter finger, that's your cervical vertebrae, 1 through 7. Underneath the Saturn finger, that middle finger, that's where your thoracic vertebrae are, 1 through 12. Under your Sun finger is your lumbar vertebrae, 1 through 5. And under that Mercury finger is your tailbone, your sacrum and your coccyx. So, see the red marks along that headline, starting between your thumb and the Jupiter finger. See the red marks underneath that Jupiter finger in the cervical area. Just a minute, I'll drop the sheet here. Oh, down towards the ends, about 5C, 6C, 7C, those are all cervical. Then it gets down to the base of your neck. And then it goes into that thoracic area. 1T, 1 thoracic, 2T, 2 thoracic. That's your heart nerves. That's what's making those little islands on that heart line. And 3T, that's your lungs. That goes all the way down to about 7 or 8T. But see where I've circled 2T on the heart nerves? Generally you get that from bending over your darn computers. And when you bend over those computers, like for 2 or 3 hours at a time, it stresses those nerves in that spine. You've got what they call interneck, because you're right out of place in the base of that neck. And that's the heart nerves. Don't want to see that. You want to get that straightened up. Oh, here's a little... Oh, by the way, if you're out of the top part of that spine, that throws you out the opposite way in your lower spine to compensate. So go down there to your lumbar area. See where the red is circled down there? And you're out of place down there in the lower spine. And your 1 lumbar, 2 lumbar, 3 lumbar, that 3 lumbar. Oh, I think you're out in the 4 also. The 3 lumbar is where your female organs are. You don't want that out of place. And that's that little circle underneath the sun finger. Then you got a little circle underneath that Saturn finger. That's your thoracic area. But you're out worse right there at the base of the neck, underneath that, in that 1C, or not the 1 cervical, but the 6 and 7 cervical. Probably from leaning over the computer a lot, or lifting children around. Oh, here's a little therapy that you can do to fix that. I show the little gals that work in the offices that bend over those darn computers all day long. I show them how to do this little therapy. If you'll sit up straight in a chair or stand up, put your arms right straight out in front of you and clasp your fingers together. Now turn your palms over backwards and raise your arms above your head. That means your elbows are straight and your palms are facing the ceiling. Now push your arms back behind your head, and you'll hear that go pop, 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 pop. And that's those vertebrae popping back in place and realigning those vertebrae. Don't worry about the pops. I've talked to a couple of medical doctors, and they said that's just the gases releasing when the vertebrae move back into their usual place. And boy, I'll tell you, that'll straighten that right there at the base of that neck, and you will feel a lot better. And then it kind of straightens up that lower spine. Oh, you've got a helpful line there. Look underneath that head and spine line where it says help line. It goes vertical. It goes up to about where the money line starts. Kind of points to that mercury finger. That's your internal organs. That's your colon, your spleen, your liver. Usually the organs in the lower part of your body. That seems to be okay. Okay, upper left-hand corner of your chart, achievement lines. Oh, you got a whole bunch of them. These are the lines that come off the top of your lifeline. They will point to either the Jupiter finger or they'll point straight up. If they're quite long, I've circled them. These are extra good achievements. Or if they've got a lot of color to them, or if they're kind of a fat line, I've circled them. So here's your achievements. That line starts at age 10, in between the thumb and the Jupiter finger. Okay, your achievements are at age 12, 13, 19, 20, 26, 30, 36, 37, 43, 45, 46, circled at 47, 49, circled at 53, circled at 56, 59, 60, 63, 66, 68, 69, and circled at 70. Good achievements, really good achievements. Who your guardian angel is will show in your hand. And if you've ever had a visit from a guardian angel, it will show in your hand. So, down in your lower left-hand corner, who your guardian angel is. There's this is on the left hand only. You'll have a line that comes up from the bottom of that lifeline. It'll touch on the lifeline. There's a good timeline on that lifeline. Where that line starts, in between the thumb and the Jupiter finger, it goes down, and about every 1/8 of an inch is about a year. About every 1/2 an inch is about 7 years. So I can just count that down with my cursor. But this is someone that has died, a loved one that has died that you have bonded to, and they become a guardian angel to you. But this is the age you were when they died. So you have to do a little math there and figure it out. So here's the age you were when you had a loved one die and they become a guardian angel to you. The line comes up, touches on the bottom of the line, then it makes a little tiny line that goes across both the lines. Just a tiny one. Okay, your guardian angels. This is on your left hand only. This is someone that has died at your age. At age 11, 19, 25, and 31. So you have to do a little math and figure that out. Then on your right hand only, the line will come up and touch on the base of that lifeline at the age you were when you had a visit from a guardian angel. Say if you got really sick, or if you'd had an operation, or if you were in distress, or sometimes if you had someone that has died and their spirit, when it leaves their body, it goes around and checks on their loved ones before it goes off into the light. And that makes a visit from a guardian angel line. You didn't have any of those, though, because you had just 2 little visits from guardian angels at age 13 and 1 at 20. Okay, our last line is the fate line. That is in the lower right-hand corner of your chart in green. The fate line is an example of your career and your lifestyle. Anytime that line breaks, that means a change in one or the other, or generally both. So look over there on the bottom of your palm there. It has 2 stars to it. If it starts to the outside of your hand, you're very sociable. Have to have your friends and family around you all the time. But if it starts right in the middle of the palm, then you're very private and you have to have a little private time. I don't know how you get that with 3 kids, but so lower right hand corner of your chart in green, here's your fate line, here's the changes. Sometimes if you've just got a little fork or line that comes off the side of that line, that's kind of a minor change. Not as strong as a real break in the line. Okay, base of the palm going up towards that Saturn finger. That's the only place that fate line goes, is to the Saturn finger. Here's your changes at age 24, 26, and then age 27 to 39. There's 2 lines in there. 2 jobs. Now that might be, you work, don't you? That might be a job and taking care of a family. Could be a job and a hobby. It could be 2 income producing jobs. That's 27 to 39. And then at 40, that line crosses over the head and the spine line. Oh, and then you got just 1 line in between the head line and the heart line from age 40 to 51. So it just goes back to 1 line. And then you got 2 lines, 2 jobs again, from age 52, and it crosses over that heart line at age 50. So from age 52 to 60, there's 2 lines, 2 jobs again. And then age 70 to 80, I get 3 lines, 3 jobs. And then when you get to that base of that Saturn finger, that's age 80. But the line keeps going up into the finger with 1 line up to age 87. You're going to live to at least 87. Not bad. Oh, you got a little lucky sign. Look over there on that left-hand side of that Mercury, that little finger. See where it says lucky sign? It's a little triangle thing. It was in your lifeline. There was one in your lifeline, there was one in your fate line. That's just a positive time in your life. There's one at age 37 to 40. That's a positive time. And then one from age 50 to 52. Just a lucky time in your life.